Welcome back to another episode of Not Your Parents' Accountant. My name is Jermaine. If you are new here or don't know me, I am the owner and founder of Visionary Accounting Group, and we specialize in workflow automation. We streamline the back office process, and we get you audit prepped. Today's video is somewhat of a light version of a case study where I want to talk about how tax planning saved my client thousands of dollars. If you've noticed the theme, the last couple of lives has centered around on why and how you should be preparing your business for tax time and why it's important to prepare early versus waiting until like the chaos and the upset once January hits, because it seems like there's like a light bulb that goes off. January comes and it's like chaos trying to figure out, how to get your accounting in order, how to make sure your taxes are accurately filed, how to make sure you minimize your tax liability, and looking for places where you can save money on your taxes. So first and foremost, let's talk about what exactly is tax planning. And the one thing I want to mention is that tax preparation and tax planning are two different things. And if you go to an accountant to get your taxes prepared, that doesn't necessarily mean that they will create a tax plan for you. It is usually a separate service. So a tax plan is usually consists of reviewing and taking analysis of your financial situation and then looking for ways to save money on your taxes, essentially, right? So you create a plan to figure out how to maximize tax savings and where you can minimize your tax liability. And again, it is not the same as tax prep. So the goal is to save money on your taxes. So I'm gonna give you a little bit of a backstory about the client. The client was a business owner or is a business owner, but she also had a part-time job. So she was getting a little bit of W-2 income. When she first came to me to complete her taxes, she came during tax season. So at that point, of course, there's only but so much tax planning you can do for that current year that we're filing for, right? So I filed her taxes. While filing her taxes, we went through tips and tricks on things that would save her money, would minimize her liability. But certain things that we did discuss, she couldn't take advantage of because simply it was just too late, right? So, but by us having that conversation, I'm really big on educating. So I don't just take your papers, file your taxes, and then that's it. I like to talk to you and walk you through what I'm doing, what the thought process is, and how you can also kind of think about these things when you're making business or financial decisions during the year and what that may mean for your tax situation when it comes to filing, right? So some she was able to implement, some she was not. But based on us having that conversation, she was like, I want to continue working with you during the year. And honestly, that's usually my goal. Is if you come to me and you just want your taxes done, usually that's not what we do here. We work with business owners whom we actually own the process of their accounting and bookkeeping because it just makes for a seamless tax process. But for this particular client, because she came to me and kind of begged me to do the taxes and we, she was referred, I was like, okay, we'll work together. But going into the next year, we have to engage throughout the year so that we don't have this issue again come next tax season. So by us working together throughout the year of that tax season, or that year rather, we were able to then better prepare her for the next tax season. So yes, I do. So right now I have a promotion called Tax Time Tune Up. It's only for 10 clients where I do virtual tax sessions and consulting, but that's only for 10 people. And these spots are open up to people who I don't manage their accounting and bookkeeping, because just as a rule of thumb, if we're not responsible for your accounting and bookkeeping, it can be really difficult to make sense of what your tax situation can be and should be. So we prefer that. But every year we open up 10 spots for people whose accounting and bookkeeping we don't manage to come in, and we get it organized for you, and then we get you set up on a tax plan. So yes is the short answer to that. So as a result, I just wanted to touch on 3 strategies we implemented. We actually in total implemented about 7 strategies, but I'm just going to touch on 3 here because there's a lot of different things that you can do to maximize your tax situation, but it really is dependent on the person, your financial situation, And some people have more complex tax situations than others, which is why it's important to make sure that you are talking to a tax professional. So one of the things we did was we looked for ways to lower her AGI, and that's her adjusted gross income, right? Everybody knows you pay taxes on your income, right? So that's why you'll hear people always say like they're looking for ways to maybe make their income lower, or maybe they might be trying to look for ways to get around claiming certain income so that they don't pay taxes on it. So some strategies consisted of these above the line deductions where we could claim student loan interest for her, maximize her contribution to her retirement fund, and then also taking advantage of education expenses because she was going to school. So it's like, okay, let me know what's going on in your life so that we can look for areas or ways that we might be able to take some of that and apply it to your tax situation. So the second thing was leveraging deductions. Now, this has become increasingly difficult since the huge tax overhaul where they've gotten rid of certain deductions, raised certain thresholds and things like that. But if you run a business, there are a lot of expenses that usually come with that. And because she was running her business full time while also, of course, working part-time, she had expenses like marketing, travel, mileage, insurance. And so it was important to comb through all of the expenses that she had to see what can we claim and where can we maximize those claims. Just insert a caveat here is that's why having an accounting system where you're tracking your income and expenses is super important, because had she not had that, it would have been very difficult to determine what she had been spending her money on through the year to even determine what deductions she could take advantage of. So it's important. Manage your accounting all year long, not only for tax season. And then the third thing we did was we looked for ways for her to defer taxes. So I'll say this with deferring taxes. Yes, you will pay on the back end or eventually, but depending on what happened that year, it might lighten the burden of what you have to pay. If you have to pay, it might give you some relief, short-term relief. So, you have to think and then discuss with your tax accountant whether or not it will be beneficial for you. But she was on track to get a bonus at the end of the year. And so instead of her claiming the bonus that year, she chose to defer it or postpone it so that she didn't have to pay taxes on that income for that year. And that's actually a very common strategy that people use, especially those who work in maybe corporate, where they're getting large bonuses that pretty much can literally significantly change what their tax situation is. But like I said, these strategies were specific to her. And it's important, that's why, to work with somebody who knows your financial situation in and out, which is why it was important to work with her throughout the year, because I got to see the ebbs and flows, what was going on in her business, and we were able to make changes and adjustments as they happen versus waiting until the end of the year, where sometimes you might not be able to make those changes or those adjustments. And honestly, that's why I created the tax time tune-up. It is simply and specifically for those business owners who have not been managing their accounting all year, who walk into tax season usually every year overwhelmed, stressed, don't know how to even make sense of their tax situation. And essentially, you outsource the headache to us. So the tax time tune-up, it is meant for 10 business owners. We only take every year. And what we do is we organize your accounting. And if you're not set up on an accounting system, we do that for you as well. We then review your situation for the entire year to determine if there are any tax savings or ways to minimize your liability that you have not missed out on. And then we also get you set up on a plan for next year, as well as organizing, if this applies to you, your estimated taxes for that upcoming year. I love offering this service because unfortunately there are so many of you out there who are small business owners, and your zone of genius is operating your business, right? Running your business. It's usually not the management of finances, not taking care of taxes. Of course, I mean, most of y'all hate taxes and you wait to the very last minute because you hate taxes so much. But honestly, it really is detrimental to your business. So if you take advantage of preparing your business for tax time throughout the year and before tax season actually gets here, it does ease the stress and the overwhelm. So if this is something that you think will be beneficial to you, if it sounds like, whew, you ain't got to worry about it, please, I invite you to jump on a call. If you head to the link in my bio, you can schedule a free consultation, 15 minutes where we kind of just have a conversation and talk about what's going on in your business to determine if we would be a great fit for one another. And then we simply go from there. That is it for this video. This Not Your Parents Accountant episode was early today because I had to push things up a little bit. But yeah, if you have any questions, please let me know. Slide into the DMs and I usually respond. I always respond, actually. If you have any questions, but if not, please, I invite you to schedule a free consultation where we can talk further. And I will see you guys next week back at the regular time, 3 p.m. Tuesdays. You guys enjoy the rest of your day.